Hello, it's Diane, and I'm back to continue showing the flip-throughs of these 5 journals that I just made. All 5 journals will be listed in my shop, which I will link below. Tomorrow, Monday, May, I had to look before, May 6th, at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In a previous video, I did a flip-through of these 2 smaller journals. So you can go back and look at that if you want to, and I'm going to go through the last 3 journals in this video. This is a Reader's Digest journal, Reader's Digest book, and I tied it with this khaki ticking. I stitched the pieces together to make it long enough. So it's a Reader's Digest book. What shall I call this one? I've got to glue that down. I don't know. I don't know what to call it. I'll call it Red Flower, even though the flower's not red, it's a red background. And that's what stands out, so Red Flower. Okay, so this is vintage tablecloth. This is chenille that Sarah just sent me. Gingham chenille. I had never seen that before. Some pom-poms. This is a piece that was cut off of a vintage patchwork piece. And it's got this green fabric and some vintage rickrack, and I will fix that where it came up there. Inside, it's a printable label, and I didn't put any paper there because the paper was fine, and I just have 3 different shades of green there. So here's the first page. There's a little collage tab. There's some vintage velvet trim there, a flashcard, and a guest check with some collage on it. I'll give a little more detail in the first book that I flipped through in case you didn't see the previous video, and then the second 2 books will go quicker. This page is a little wonky, so it must have shifted when I was sewing, but it fits in there. It's a Popular Mechanics book, and there's a flashcard, and the flashcard forms a pocket, so there's a few little cards in there. A children's dictionary. This is a golden book page. Recipe page, music score sheet. This is a journal page. It was a large journal. It's got lines on it, and it's a fabric flip with a hummingbird. This is a children's workbook, and a little girl colored in it, or somebody colored in it. Unfortunately, they didn't follow the words because they're supposed to have red dresses on, but their dresses are brown, and that's okay. And there's coloring on that side too. Graph page. This is a typing textbook. It looks like it's marked up, but it was printed that way, I believe. Children's book. Scrapbook paper with wallpaper on it. Here's a little sack. It's got a butterfly paper clip. And this is an art card. Colored index card, and a piece of ephemera from Tsunami Roses Printables. Sometimes these paper clips are smarter than me. Those shaped ones. And on the back is the little dress that I cut out from a Montgomery Ward book, catalog from the 1950s or 60s, I can't remember. I had to throw most of the catalog away. It was kind of ruined, and some of it was mildewed. So I cut that out and glued it to scrapbook paper. This part of the dress was cut off, so I just put some scrapbook paper, fussy cut flowers there, and then put this card to write on the back. Children's book page. This is a book about costume through the centuries. A little stamp that's on an envelope, and a little playing card stapled there. This is from a children's book that has those very durable pages that babies can have, and they can't eat them and tear them and stuff. I love this book. I want to find more books like that. This is from a game called Waterworks, and you were supposed to build the pipe, I guess. I think I played this a long time ago. I love this green playing card. children's book, and this is a little collage that I made. Like I said in the other video, I just saw a little tutorial or a little video with Daisy from Tsunami Rose, just making these very simply. They're two little pieces of scrapbook paper stitched together and a vintage ticket and a little fussy cut flower. This one has a sack, and it's got a tag made out of scrapbook paper and a little white tag. Chenille tab. Pretty little envelope there. And it's got some things tucked inside, and it is a tuck spot for this vintage bridge tally card. There's all kinds of fun stuff in these books. I had so much fun just throwing everything in. Second signature has a piece of scrapbook paper. It's pink gingham, and I just did a bunch of stuff to it. Inking and stenciling and stuff. It's stuff I was playing with that were in my stash. I just threw into this book. Flashcard. Into these books, I should say. A little children's book about going to the zoo. There's an ESP card. Vintage cookbook page. This heart is punched out of wallpaper. This is from the Early American Furniture Field Guide or something like that. It's a cute little book. Vintage ledger paper. A book about sewing. A very vintage sewing book with nice thick pages. A teacher's planner book. Here's a piece of tissue paper that I was playing with alcohol inks. Fabric flip. Some packaging from botanical postage stamps. Didn't want to throw that image away. Here's an envelope. It's got a stamp on it. Not sure where that stamp, what country that stamp is from. But inside is this little tab or tag and an Old Maid card. Cookbook page, a little yearbook picture. I'm forgetting I'm supposed to be sticking some of this stuff in. Here's the Eiffel Tower, piece of ephemera from Tsunami Rose's printables, and I'm sticking in this little page from a booklet that you could get when you were on a bus trip going somewhere. They would hand out these little booklets. Another wallpaper heart is there. There's a couple pieces of wallpaper here and some music paper. This is a craft book with a chenille tab on it. There's another envelope. Vintage children's card. And that's a rook card. I put it in there so you could see those cute little chickies through the window. There's a polar bear card in a different language. Somebody sent those to me. I didn't stick anything in there. I'll have to put something in there. Those two packets. This is wallpaper. It's a little tag that I made on a video the other day. A flinch card. I love this picture of the deer on this paper. It's a children's nature encyclopedia page. This page got wonky too. Fabric flip. This is a bookkeeper's page from a very vintage bookkeeping textbook. Children's dictionary, tissue paper. There's some vintage stamps on there with some things tucked into this pocket. Vintage atlas book. This is coffee dyed paper, and the ink ran a little bit and blended with the coffee and created some interesting colors and textures. The paper was torn, so I put a piece of washi tape on it. This is from a little German children's animal book that I think Eve sent that to me. And I thought that was so cute. That little zebra. I'll stick this in here. My yearbook picture card that I made. And a couple cutouts. An envelope with a tag from, I think it was Bo Bunny paper, or I don't know, maybe it's DCWV. Be silly, be honest, be kind. Ralph Waldo Emerson. And here is this adorable little kitten playing card and a little scrap of paper. Guest check, and here's a tag that I stamped. Coffee dyed index card. Chenille tab. Again, I sprayed the bingo card. I trimmed around the bingo card, trimmed all the borders off so it would be smaller, and then sprayed it with different colors. And this is like a vinyl. It's not shiny vinyl. It's a very unusual wallpaper. It's got some glittery specks in it. And feed sack fabric at the top. Well, oh, there's, I'll stick this photo in here if it'll fit. I didn't put anything in this. And then you can put whatever you want in there. And on the back is that khaki ticking and this really pretty quilted fabric and a couple of tags. This one's a printable, and this one I cut from graphic 45 paper. So this one I'm going to call Red Flower. The next one, I'm going to call this one Homestead because it's got a picture of a house on it. I might add another strip of, okay. On this one, this fabric frays so easily that I stitched all the way around it. So I have to go back and do that to this one, and I'll probably add, see, this is the finished edge, that's the selvage, so that's not going to fray. But I'll probably add another piece so make it a little bit longer. So this is the pretty cover with these beautiful greens and purples. And I decorated these covers on camera, but I added these foam flowers that Sarah sent me because the colors were so pretty. And I had to create a new back cover because I couldn't find the back cover to this book. So I used this paper with the colors that matched. I don't know where I got this. I think somebody sent this to me, and it's got this little gnome or somebody there. Look at all the little critters, all little storybook animals. Some lace here, flash card, an art card, and a florist hang tag. So pretty much the same elements. I'm going to just flip through it so you can see what's in it. This one has a pretty piece of colored eyelet and a piece of silk. Here's the little dress in this book. A Viewmaster reel. This one has wallpaper, and then this is fussy cut from wallpaper and stitched on. from the botanical book. This is wallpaper. I just cut it out, and it was self-adhesive wallpaper, so I just stuck it on there. It sticks pretty good. It only came up because I peeled it. Again, this is a pocket that, whoops, I'm sorry, a pocket I made with my Cricut. It's got 2 cards inside and 2 cards tucked behind. This is a vintage tally card and a vintage snap card. Flinch, vintage Flinch card. This is stapled on a little tiny playing card, and this is a little card that I stamped. That's pretty. I should make some more with those stamps. Oh, who's got time to do everything they want to do? There's some more stamping that I did. I collaged on that card. So this was like a bird bingo game. It's a card that came with it. You can see how old this envelope is because you can see the discoloration. Here's a little Care Bear card, and I had this wrapping paper that had a rainbow on it, so I stitched them together. This is from a stamp book, stamp collector's book. Wallpaper, vintage bingo card, vellum, there's stuff in there, there's a tag in there. There's some fish here, so I stitched on this little lighthouse card that Sarah just sent me. There's some stuff inside there, and this is stamps from Finland. I love this little snapshot. I stitched it on there, but on the back, he must have mailed this in a letter to somebody. On the back it said, "This is Betty, the girl that I go with." Isn't that cute? I wonder if they got married. This is a little card I made with Tim Holtz paper. This is from a Cub Scout book. Here's some of that wrapping paper that had the rainbow on it. It's got a couple little kids on it. Little monkey. And on the back is a chenille pocket. I decided after I already had this glued on that I wanted to add this little hexagon that Sarah sent me. So I stitched around it and then glued it on. And it's got a couple little tags inside. So this one is called Homestead. And the last one we'll call Bingo. This one has just a plain tie because there's so much going on the cover. I wanted to keep the tie plain. It's coffee dyed muslin, or coffee dyed cotton anyway. And I stitched around it, because it frays very, very easily. But it's got 3 pieces stitched together. So on this cover, it looked just like that. It's a pretty little pattern, but pretty simple. So I just collaged a whole bunch of stuff on it. So this is a vintage bingo card. This is from a vintage cloth calendar that you would hang in your kitchen. And all of this is a piece of patchwork, vintage, and a yo-yo and some chenille pieces. And I added some bingo, the callers numbers. I actually put them on the spots with the matching numbers, and a vintage tablecloth piece right there. And a little, I think this is a printable. And it's got a lot of the same things. This one does have a time card that I collaged, folded up and collaged on. This is vintage fabric, vintage milk cap. And that just goes right in there. A Viewmaster pocket. Here's a card that I made. Some little cards in there. Cards in here. There's an art card and a Tsunami Rose ephemera and a coffee dyed card. Grand Canyon. Children's book. This one is one of the cards that I collaged on. I'm not even sure what I did with all of them. I think this is the only one that made it into one of these books, because they are kind of big, but this book is the largest of the books. So it goes in that sack. A chenille tab. Here's the dress for this book. Tally card, and there's stuff in there. Workbook, recipe book. This is wallpaper. Both of these are wallpaper. Vintage Flinch card. Here's a tag that I made. And this is Tsunami Rose ephemera. Some stuff in there. Fabric flip. This is brown paper for wrapping, and I got something wrapped in it, either Happy Mail or an order or something, and I just left it folded the way it was and stitched it in. So you can, and I added this to it, so you can open it up and write on it. Another of the bird bingo cards. There's a card that I colored, a bingo card. This is wallpaper. This is scrapbook cardstock. And here's the other side of that craft paper. There's this image that I stamped and cut out. I wasn't too fond of these. You can cover that up if you want to, but I did like the deer. wallpaper circle and a little playing card. Look at that cute elephant. Some cards in there. There's an old photograph from 1927. When I was stitching this signature in, the thread got caught on that photo and tore it. So I covered that up and fixed it with washi tape. These white envelopes that I sewed into the centers, not all the signatures have them, but they're very sturdy envelopes. Some cards in that one. Little lamb. I can put something there too. Probably won't fit. It's not quite big enough. Okay, so on the back it has some two pockets. One fabric sewed onto another fabric. This is a piece of patchwork. So this goes in there. I think I put this one in the back. And this one in the back. I'll add this photo in the front too. Okay, so that does it. We have Bingo, Homestead, Red Flower, Tom and Betty, and Literary Readers, all to be listed in my Etsy shop Monday, which is tomorrow, May 6th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope to see you then. Bye-bye.